Before I conclude, and I don't know, I'm probably hopefully within my time limit, maybe I just want to make 5 very brief points and comments based upon a few observations over the past, not my 30 years, but over in a few years of looking at this. The first one is that, like spring flowers, which you have here and we don't have in Ottawa at the moment, a good snowfall can really put a damper on them. I think the weight of expectations can really put a damper on this new process. We have to be sensitive to that. It's very important to have expectations of our government. It's very important to have expectations of each other. We just need to make sure that we watch that the weight of expectation doesn't bury the very thing that we're trying to create. The second one, I would encourage pragmatism, and I think we've heard a bit about that this morning. Whenever I have discussions with my staff about oceans-related issues, this is connected to that, and it's very easy to get up to a ball of everything that's connected. I think one of the key challenges is making sure to understand that, but to find ways that we can act on very specific steps. The third point I wanted to underline was that to build on Art's point about nurturing respect, which I think is a really important one. I phrased it as seek to understand and seek to be understood. We've talked about conflicting oceans uses, which is one of the things that we're dealing with. There's no us and them in this room. There's only us. And I think it's very important that we work together to try to understand, even points of view you don't agree with, let's try to understand them and try to find out where our common space is. And the last point that I wanted to register is that I know over time, whether it's our regional staff and Mel Kotick and his team, the PNCIMA Secretariat, who've done a wonderful job in organizing this, and I really applaud their work. Whether stakeholders have been concerned about whether Ottawa is going to be there, whether the department is going to be there for PNCIMA. This is a priority. It is at the top of my job jar. It is one of the 5 ones that we're very strongly committed to. We will be there. Is it going to be challenging to make it work? Absolutely. Will I sit down to make sure that we find whatever the guidance, the resources, the support, intellectual support, whatever it is it takes to help Paul and his team and all of you make this work? We will be there. We will make our best efforts to be there. And maybe just to close, everybody was saying, well, Wayne, you need to close with some big lines, something, maybe some First Nations thing. And I said, it would take an incredible amount of gall to go in front of a room full of matriarchs, chiefs, elders, and sort of start quoting First Nations to them. So what I wanted to do was just to tell you a very brief story, which I think is very appropriate for today. Some of you may know, many of you may not know, but yesterday and today are the first month of the lunar calendar where the new moon appears, and in many cultures this is very important in terms of determining when holidays happen, etc. And in ancient times in Judaism, the new moon was actually spotted somewhere else, but you couldn't just sort of say, oh, there's a new moon, everybody knows when it is. They actually had to come into a central place and get verification that it was in fact the new moon. And from that central place, voices went out across the communities to announce to people it's the new moon and all the things that flow from that. And what I'd like to hopefully to see today is from this place that we all go forward back to our communities, back to our colleagues, back to our friends, to talk about the optimism of PNCIMA, what we're hoping to achieve, and how we want to work together to achieve those results for our oceans, for our communities, and for ourselves. Thank you very much.